Hello everyone, welcome back to our Math Academy. Today we are solving a question that looks scary at first glance because of that fraction in the exponent m plus 1 over 3. But I promise you, once you spot the trick, it is just a simple quadratic equation. First, to solve this kind of question, we should observe that 1 over 4 and 1 over 2 are closely related. So what are we trying to say? We are trying to say that we can write 1 over 4 as 1 over 2, everything all squared. So now let's put this inside our exponential equation. This 1 over 4, as we have said, we'll write it as 1 over 2 raised to power 2, then times m plus 1 divided by 3 plus 4 equals to 5, open bracket, 1 over 2 m plus 1 divided by 3. Now, next we swap powers of these exponents that we have here. So we can write this as 1 over 2 raised to power m plus 1 over 3, everything raised to power 2 plus 4 equals to 5, open bracket, 1 over 2 raised to power m plus 1 over 3. Now we are going to let 1 over 2 m plus 1 divided by 3 to be equal to, let's pick a letter, let's say letter P. So that this exponential equation that we have here will become P squared plus 4 equals to 5P. Can you see this has turned to a simple quadratic equation? And if we rewrite this quadratic equation in the standard form, we are going to have P squared minus 5P. That is, I'm trying to bring minus 5P to the other side, plus 4 equals to 0. That is, I brought it to the left-hand side. So this is now a standard quadratic equation. And to solve a quadratic equation like this, we made two numbers such that when we multiply it together, it will give us plus 4. And also when we add it together, it will give us minus 5. So, and the two values that we work is minus 1 and minus 4. So when we solve this quadratically, so we are going to have P squared minus, let's write this in terms of P, that's minus P. We are trying to replace the middle term with minus 1 and minus 4. This middle term, we are trying to replace it. So, we are going to write it in terms of P. So minus 4 can be written as minus 4P, then plus 4 equals to 0. Now, when you factorize this, we are going to have P minus 1, open bracket, P minus 4. Quadratic equation, this is what we are going to have. So from here, we can say either P minus 1 is equal to 0 for P minus 4 is equal to 0. So our P is equal to 1, or P is equal to 4. But we will not stop here, because it is not P they asked us to look for, it is M. But already we have a representation for our P, since we already assume that our P should be 1 over 2 raised to power M plus 1 over 3. So I will consider two cases for the two values of P. I will say case 1, that is when P is equal to 1. So when P is equal to 1, we are going to have 1 over 2 raised to power M plus 1 over 3 equals to 1. But we have a little problem here, because we have 1 over 2 as the base here and 1 here. So from our law of indices, we know anything raised to power 0 is 1, apart from, except 0 itself. So any number raised to power 0 is 1. So I can write 1 to have base 1 over 2. So what I'm trying to say here is that we can write 1 as 1 over 2 raised to power 0. So, and when you compare their power, we are going to have M plus 1 over 3 equals to 0. So if you multiply through by 3, we are going to have 0 times 3. Then what we have here also times 3. At the end of the day, we are going to have M plus 1 equals to 0. M is equal to minus 1. That's it. That's the first value of M. Let us consider case 2. Case 2, that is when P is equal to 4. So we are going to have 1 over 2 raised to power M plus 1 over 3 equals to 4. Now, how do we undo 4 to have a base of 1 over 2? So we know that 4 is the same thing as writing 2 raised to power 2. And also 2 is the reciprocal of 1 over 2. I want us to take note of that. So we can write 4 as 1 over 2 raised to power minus 2. If we apply the negative index law of indices, you are going to arrive back to 4. I mean what we have on this right hand side here. So I can write 1 over 2 raised to power M plus 1 over 3 to be equal to 1 over 2 raised to power minus 2. So comparing their power, we are going to have M plus 1 over 3 equals to minus 2. So if we multiply through by 3, we multiply this also by 3. So we are going to have M plus 1 equals to minus 2 times 3. That will give us minus 6. At the end of the day, our M is equal to minus 7. So the two values of M is equal to minus 1 and M equals to minus 7. Thank you for watching. Please, if you find this video helpful, please subscribe to my channel. God bless. Thank you. Bye.